New York City and how folks are dealing with it. And Jonathan Seri in Atlanta on the global fears that are mounting as we speak because of it. We begin with Susan. Hey, Susan.
Neil, depending on how markets settle, we're looking at the third biggest drop in the Dow's history. Points drop past 1,000. Also for the S&P 500, possibly in the top three in terms of points losses. And as you mentioned, the fear trade and the safety trade is on. We saw the volatility index, better known as the fear gauge, spiking to its highest since August of this year. Gold trading at its highest in 7 years. And Treasury yields on U.S. Treasuries trading close to record lows. Why, you ask? Well, as you mentioned, the spread of the coronavirus now spreading to Italy, with a 7th death being reported this morning. Milan Fashion Week has been canceled, 50,000 being quarantined. Also in South Korea, we have a report of a 7th death, 800 cases there, and Iran possibly has more than 12 deaths at this point. And we saw that reflected in the stock trade as well over on the European side. Worst day for Europe in close to 4 years. For the South Korean index, worst day in 2 years. And this is also impacting travel as well, because not only travel being restricted to China, which we already know, but travel possibly restricted to Europe and possibly around the rest of the world. And we saw that with American Airlines, the worst performer today for the S&P 500, really losses, steep losses for the airlines of Delta and United Airlines. And what about the cruise lines, since we've heard so much about them being quarantined, with Carnival and Royal Caribbean also falling heavily in the session as well. I should point out that Royal Caribbean says that if all itineraries are canceled in the Asia Pacific, that the damage would be 10 times what they felt from Hurricane Dorian. Now, we hit the streets here in New York to find out if the average person is concerned about the stock losses and also about coronavirus.
I think travel industries, for the most part, especially those traveling to and from Asia, I can definitely see that being impacted. But in my current line of work, I don't see it affecting me that strongly.
Well, if you look at the markets today, the S&P is down like 3 or 4% since this morning. And I think that's all based on fears that haven't really been priced into the market yet.
Some people live paycheck to paycheck, so the coronavirus, I think, is affecting a lot of some people's business. So it's sad that that's happening.
But I don't think it's going to, have a lasting effect. It's just kind of slowing things down for a little bit.
Now, that's the good point, because China might be taking a hit of $1 trillion in the first 3 months of this year. But as we saw with SARS back in 2003, Neil, yes, the initial drop might be steep, but the recovery will be fast as well. Back to you.
All right, Susan, thank you very much. Now to Jonathan Seri.